Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about, are you passive aggressive? Before we talk about whether or not you're passive aggressive, let's talk about how a snake is born. A snake is someone that smiles at your face, but behind your back, they're talking a lot of bad stuff about you. A snake is born because of anger and fear. For some reason, they're angry at you for whatever reason. It could be because you yelled at them in public, you're roasting them a little too much, you're successful in things that they're a failure on, right? So there's some anger. But at the same time, there's fear. They're afraid to express their feelings to you. Maybe you have a power dynamic over them. Maybe they're just non-confrontational by nature. Maybe they have no clue why they're so angry at you. But there's fear. And in that duality of strong anger and strong fear, a snake is born. And what's very remarkable is that that's the exact same reason why a passive-aggressive person is born. This is a person that has anger, right, for whatever reason, but they're also fearful of expressing that anger. And in that duality, they have moments where that anger slips out. The anger can slip out in the form of a joke, in the form of a snide remark, in the form of one of these eye rolls, the eye rolls that indicate disgust. But it slips out every now and then. So the reason a passive-aggressive person is born is due to the same reason a snake is born. It's due to being caught in the middle ground between anger and fear. And me explaining how to stop being passive-aggressive is very difficult because this is something that requires more inner work. I would say baby steps are better than no steps. I used to be very passive-aggressive, especially with certain people when I felt as though they weren't paying attention to me. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to you either. Rather than stating, hey, I would really like it if you would listen to me because that makes me feel important in the interaction. And then I thought about it. Imagine if we always try to put words to our anger when dealing with other people. Unfortunately, it's not always practical because then we start to teeter within the nitpicking territory where the other person, plenty of times, they're not trying to make us angry. And if we keep putting words to different things that are making us angry, they're going to feel like they have to walk on eggshells near us. So a little bit of passive-aggressive is good because it's a lot like judging within society. If we judge too much, then that's not a good thing. But a society that judges every now and then is a society that's meant to thrive because they have certain principles and morals that they enforce. And if you're trying to dissipate the boundaries, they're going to be like, no, bam, that's not flying by here. So a little bit of judging is good in my opinion. And passive-aggressive, I would say, try to remove the aggressive part by a bit. But every now and then, a smart aleck joke can be better received than just you telling the other person what they're doing wrong. Not all the time, but every now and then it's like, you stopped paying attention, didn't you? And they're like, man, I did. Well, I would really like it if you could pay attention. And it's a little passive-aggressive, but this drives the point home better in certain interactions than just telling the other person everything on your mind. There are certain times that we want to pick and choose our battles. I believe, though, the better thing to get away from this video is understanding why someone is passive-aggressive. When we understand why we're passive-aggressive, then it's easier to exercise judgment when we are being passive-aggressive in certain interactions. And the reason someone is passive-aggressive is because they are caught between the dynamic of anger and fear. And within this dynamic is when a snake is born And this is where passive aggressiveness is born as well. If you enjoyed today's talk, go on and drop that like for me right on below. And thank you very much for joining me.